Hey, Taurus. You are undergoing a great transformation, and it's because Uranus has basically been in your house for almost the entire year. And now Uranus is the energy of rebellion, going against tradition, having new ideas, broadening your experiences, being curious, trying new things, also setting a new pace, sticking up for, standing up for what you believe in, taking action when it comes to doing the right thing, globally type of thing. You are really saying no to tradition. You're saying, which is not you. You are an upholder of tradition, but there's such an influence going on in you now. There could also be an impetuousness, sort of throwing caution to the wind, and really not thinking about the consequences ahead. And it's almost like, in a sense, right now, you're getting the first reverberation of the consequences of that behavior. You know, you're being asked to have heart, which is usually not difficult for you. But you were so challenged with having too much of a heart and always being accused of being too boring that it's almost like you took the other route, went the other extreme, and just went over into the deep end of, I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to love me. I'm just going to be all about what makes me happy, and do the things that I believe in, and that really interest me. In a lot of ways, there was that sense of being somebody that in a lot of ways you're really not. And it's good to try on other sets of clothes, almost be, put on somebody else's life. Not that you were pretending or faking, but it wasn't you, but you were putting it on to like feel how it felt, which is wonderful. It's mind expanding. It helps to develop your character, to step into somebody else's shoes. And I think you found yourself really enjoying it. Like, holy shit, this is how the other side lives. Like, this is how the freedom feels. This is how it feels to be like relieved and out there, and like not worry, and not always worry about what people think of me, or what people want, or did I do the right thing, and all those things. Like, this is whoa, this is so cool. And you got yourself involved with somebody, maybe some romantic interest, it seems. Yes, like you were saying yes to things that normally you wouldn't say yes to because you hadn't thought about them. You didn't ask for clarity. You almost just fell in love with the dream that you were immersed in, the ideas behind something. Fell in love with it. You just wanted to keep going with the flow. The issue is that somebody took it more seriously. Somebody took it, they don't want it to just be free. They want it to be more. And I think you just realized that. Maybe you received some communication recently that made you feel burdened in a way of, oh God, what did I get myself into? Now, yes, this could very well have been other things, like getting involved in a social cause, and then just trying to do the right thing and lend a hand or something like that, because you got lend a hand here, like reaching out and doing what's right and doing what's good, and giving yourself to somebody, basically getting involved because it felt good to you. This isn't normally something that you would have done, but it felt good and you went with it. And this is what I talk about, kind of costuming, putting on other clothes, just to enjoy a pleasure. It's almost like you were behaving like somebody else when you reached out to this person, just because you wanted to see how it felt. You wanted to have the experience. And you did have the experience, and you did engage this person, but it was never completely clear. Things were always a little bit murky. It's almost like you got together, like I said, in a dream. and you ended up saying yes or getting involved with somebody or getting involved with a group, right? Could have been that, without really understanding what the hell you were getting into, because you weren't really acting like yourself. You were trying on this new pair of shoes. You were trying on different things, new things. You were experimenting. You were in a new environment, you know, an environment that kind of like was like, you know, the only way to feel secure was to kind of like just, you know, when in Rome, do what the Romans do type of thing. And it was fun and it was enjoyable, but you got yourself into a circumstance that actually has turned deeper. And I don't think you were prepared for that. I don't think you were prepared for the level of depth or expectation that came out of it. He's like, dare to be happy. Dare to just enjoy yourself for a second. And this is like that flip side of like, oh my God, I'm just trying to have fun. I'm just trying to like love the moment and live in the moment and really feel good about this moment. I'm just trying that. Can people just let me alone and let me try that? But the answer came out a resounding no. You're trying to be kind. You know, you're just throwing caution to the wind and enjoying yourself. And if you got involved with a group or especially a specific person, there is this sense of they weren't in it just for enjoyment or pleasure. You were throwing caution to the wind. You were just living for the moment, right? You were just living it up. You weren't taking things that seriously. You weren't taking things that seriously. You just wanted to experiment and feel something different. You just wanted to be different. You wanted to see how the other half lives. Okay? That's awesome. This is a chance for growth. But then what happens is somebody takes things more seriously. There is this sense of like maybe getting into a sensual state, jumping in sexually with somebody, right? This is a sense of engaging sexuality, sensuality, your sexuality, experimenting sexually. All of those things could have been happening. But there is this sense of somebody took it heavier and more serious. And you might have just heard from somebody or gotten a message from somebody that you didn't expect to hear from, or a message that you didn't expect to come in. And it was a really great burden for you. Now, this could be like a fucking, like you, especially if it was like delving in sexual, you could have just gotten test results back. You know, that was like, oh shit, what do you mean? What happened? Wait, what do I have? That kind of like first round with like STDs or something. Something like that. But this is definitely passion. A passionate letter, something that has to do with those depths, those passionate parts of you. But it is a little bit worrisome. It created a sense of like a burden. Now, I don't know if it's this person's feelings, the way they feel about you, because there is a sense of be patient. You're trying to like be kind. You're trying to just continue on in faith. You're trying to just be understanding, be considerate. When you really just want to push the motherfucker down the slide. Yep. But you just received some news that sort of changed the game. You just realized that somebody be feeling some things that you don't feel. Or you just got some news that suddenly, either way, all of a sudden now, this good time you were having suddenly has consequences. Suddenly it's not that fun time anymore. Things have basically come to a halt. And it's like, oh shit, good feelings gone. Somebody's feelings for you could have changed as well. Whatever came in this message or this communication, like having to express yourself, express your feelings, it was hard for you. It was difficult either for you to hear or for you to receive. Because it slowed you down. You were so happy in this new life, and it's all like all of a sudden your old life caught up to you. Hold on a second, because I want to check what the planet placements are. Wait. No, it seems like, you know, Uranus is going to be with you for a while. So, just wanted to check. You are still you. And I don't mean to make that sound like a problem, but there is a little bit of a conflict. Because you are the upholder of tradition. You are the upholder of the status quo. You know, you're the fixed earth sign. But you're being visited by the planet of rebellion. There is conflict in your soul right now. It's something that's very, very difficult for you to resolve. It's natural to have this feeling of like, but wait, I'm out there, I'm having fun. And it's like most people who have that devil may care attitude really don't care. The problem is you do. And that's the conflict right now. Because you do care. You still want to have fun. You still want to enjoy yourself. You still want to be free. And it's like when everything's going well, it's like you are free. But as soon as there's a concern, you're concerned. And you want to react. And that's where we're coming in right now. There's a sense of definitely be patient with yourself. You know, this isn't normal for you. You know, just letting it slide and like throwing yourself into something is not normal for you. So if you come across these periods where you are trying new things, you are pushing yourself, but don't push yourself to the point where you put yourself into an uncomfortable situation. I think you've just been faced with an uncomfortable situation. Like I said, this could very well be having thrown caution to the wind, something with a relationship here, just jumped in. There's sensuality, there's sexuality, there's experimentation with sexuality. You could have just gotten like some bad news. And now it's like I'm taking it personally. Like say you found out you got your first STD. I'm not saying that that's what it is. But I'm saying say you found out. There is this sense of somebody that's normally like this. They'd be like, you know, fuck it. Everybody gets this one. I'll take the pill and it'll be gone. They don't even think about it. They don't judge themselves for it. With you, it's like a cardinal sin. It's like doom and gloom. It's like, oh, this is a sign. I'm being punished. You're not. It's just when you throw yourself out there and you live life, bad things happen too. And this is this learning, but this is learning how to take those hits and how to absorb them. You know, they always say that the best boxers are not the ones with the best punches, but the ones that can absorb the punches the best because they can last the longest. This is you kind of like maintaining that stamina, learning how to take those punches because you are in a new realm right now. Different things are going to happen to you, and they're all not all easy or comfortable, but they're not necessarily bad, but they are uncomfortable. You are dealing with something that you don't want to be dealing with right now. You just got a message, and it could very well be that that's about somebody's passion for you that feels like, oh, what do you mean love? I didn't think we were there, you know, or like has to do with passion and sensuality, and it's not necessarily bad news, but it's like you could have expressed yourself recently, admitted how you felt, and it wasn't really well received. You're taking a lot of flack for it. Let's get into the main reading. I think you are trying to be, oh, how is this card? Hold on a second. I'm sorry, Taurus. Conclusions are within reach. Okay, so pretty soon, and I would say by the next full moon, so in the next month or next 2 weeks, because we're having new moon tomorrow, things are going to be figured out. You're going to get the answers that you need, and this is all going to be over with. So that's good news, right? And I'll tell you why it's good news. Because this feels like, in some ways, like you're, like I said, you're being judged. And of course, like I said, in one of my dailies, I think, Jupiter has gone direct, but Capricorn and, Saturn and Pluto are still in retrograde. They are about to go direct, but a lot of times they wreak their worst havoc right before they go direct, because it's like, okay, let's clear out. Let's make sure we got everything. So they're sending this one in your way just to test your conviction on, your new lesson plan. And if you're ready for it. Can we scare you? Can they? Only you know. Yeah, life has been moving pretty quickly, and you dived in head first in a new direction. Basically just having faith and following the lead. I don't think that you were the leader. I think you were following somebody that you didn't necessarily know that well. And it was wonderful. It was a whole different way of experiencing life. See, this is Gemini energy, just rushing into something, going headlong, being spontaneous. But that Gemini energy, they're not as weighty as you are. You're the earth sign, right? They're not as weighty. But this is that sense of just rushing headlong and life changing. And you taking those changes and trying to take those changes with stride and trying to figure out the ground beneath your feet now without any support systems on the side of you. And you just sort of rushed headlong into something that was very emotional. It's almost like rushing into something like it was not serious, like it was fun and playful, but you dove into something deep in a rushed way. You rushed into something very deep, and it was very emotional, and it was a lot more than you anticipated for it to be. You just basically took a running leap off a diving board, and you didn't realize how fucking far in the air it was. But you know what? Now you're falling. Now you're in. Like gravity, hello, you can't stop this. You're in deep now. You just dove in really deep. I don't think you realized how deep these waters are that you dove into. And this is a first for you. You were just following in faith. You were almost following guidance, like just trusting in the moment, trusting in the possibility, the potential. You were led, definitely. It's almost like something was so tempting that you couldn't resist it. And you followed where it led. So it wasn't like it was the wrong thing to do, but at the same time, you didn't really know completely what you were getting into. Because not everything had been revealed to you, and this was new territory. There was a lot of unexpecteds. And if this was a person, they came across as really wonderful, like a shining white knight. Very glorious, very beautiful, very together. Simultaneously, you didn't know them that well. There was a lot of unknowns about this person that you kind of filled in for yourself because of the way that they presented themselves. Now, I'm not saying that they're a bad person. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is there's a lot to still be known about them. And you got in deep before you did. Now, this is not a person. This is a circumstance or a situation that deals with, it's almost like, say you got involved with a charity group or say you got involved with an activist group. You didn't realize how deep this went. You didn't realize how much responsibility it was going to be. You just kind of got into it because you just followed your passions. And now you in deep. It has been a cathartic experience for you. It is changing you. And it's helping you move and experience life in a different way. You're seeing the world from a different perspective. It is a different version of yourself, and it is definitely helping you grow. This is a positive. This is a growth experience. This is new. This could be babies. And that's what I'm saying is like there in some ways you could be unexpected pregnancy. Holy shit, how do I deal with this? Do I call home? Do I tell them about it? But it also is just a sense of a new life and a new way of being. New ideas. A new start. This is freshness. This is new. And you trust it. Trust it. You're still being told to trust in all this craziness. And you are. You're taking it really lightly. You're playing. You're having a good time in all this craziness. In some ways, even the hardships seem like you were just playing around. Because in some ways you knew that you kind of were. That somehow you could always get out of this, or at least you thought you did. But guess what? You're more stuck than you think you are. You're not going anywhere. You got wings, but you can't exactly use them right now. And now that's where the discomfort comes. The reality of sort of the dangers of it all. That's now all of a sudden it's hitting you. It's at your doorstep. You're like, oh, camping isn't so much fun when there's a bear scratching at your tent. But the bear has arrived. Perhaps it's Mama Bear. And that's the consequence. It's almost like you could have gotten a message from somebody that doesn't want you behaving this way. You could have gotten a message from somebody who is expressing disappointment and putting a damper on your life experiences. And that's causing a great deal of conflict in you. Living for the moment. See, it's like defending your right to live in the moment and be in the present time. This is Libra energy. Just being glorious. This is something very beautiful. It's like you're defending your behavior. You're defending your choices. You're defending your right to continue on in this experience. You're almost pissed at somebody, to be honest with you. You're pissed at somebody for kind of like taking away this opportunity from you. And you want to just tell them off. What you really want to say, you're not saying, you're holding back. Because if you said what you really wanted to say, you know that it would cause problems. But this is Gemini energy too. This is like hearing something that you don't want to hear. So for some of you, it could also mean like you don't want to hear somebody nagging you. You don't want to hear somebody trying to wake you up and tell you this is a bad choice for you. You don't want to hear that shit. Because it's not about good and bad choices. It's about experiences. Can you just get off my ass? Simultaneously, there also is some sense of you may have just heard something. You just heard something that you didn't want to hear. And it's putting a real damper on the gloriousness of maybe that couple of days or couple of weeks where you were just allowed to be free. Let's get into the angel messages. Taurus, this is a new you. This is a different reading for you. Divine mystery. Anxiety. Okay. All right. The messages are on the table, baby. Divine mystery came out first. Let's start with that. You, along with the sun, earth, moon, and stars, are part of one creation, a divine mystery unfolding each moment. Be present and feel the power of now. Be in the moment and witness the wonder of it all. And that's what you're doing. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. Anxiety. We surround you with the healing light of amethyst. Grab some amethyst, Taurus, and hold it on you. It will help you. Take a deep breath and breathe in this beautiful violet light. Feel your anxiety melting away. There is nothing to fear. There is only love. Hold on, I gotta plug in my phone or it's gonna conk out on me. I feel like you're feeling a lot of anxiety right now because there's this conflict between what you want and what you feel responsible for. And what you feel responsible for is not something that you can easily dismiss because that's not what you do. You know, you are the root of responsibility. So there is that sense of how there's a lot of anxiety building in you right now. How do I deal with the circumstance? How do I reconcile these two things that seem so different? There is nothing to fear. There is only love. Believe in even the fact that if somebody's being critical of you, it's like, I think you're trying to understand that they love you and that they're worried about you. And you may be taking that punch from them simply because you know that that's what they're expressing. That's what their frustration and harsh words really mean. It doesn't mean that you have to believe what they say about you. Know that. See, those two things don't go. You see, you don't have to go all one way or all the other. Courage. You have what it takes. Just do it. We, your angels, are here to support you. So you're going to keep moving on. This is your call to keep moving on in the direction that you're on, even if now you know. It's almost like in some ways, people didn't know what you were doing at first. So you didn't have to take on the responsibility of their judgment on you. But now it's out of the bag. The cat's out of the bag. And you have to take on the responsibility, and they're judging you. And now it's a burden. And you don't want that burden. But have courage, because you are on the right track. Even though now it's just gotten a hell of a lot more real and more complicated. Sacred knowledge. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. Feel the peace within. Beyond your thoughts lies your eternal truth, the I am presence of eternal love. Breathe. You need the air to fill your lungs, Taurus. Mindfulness is here. Be mindful of another's feelings and needs. Someone needs your love right now. A loving thought is all it takes. The only way you can make matters worse right now is if you mouth off and scream and yell back at this person. The way through is just understanding. Like I said, you don't have to believe what they say. You don't have to agree with it. You're a fucking adult. You make your own choices. But ultimately, so in other words, don't take it personally. Don't take their criticisms personally. Don't let their fears be your fears. But be respectful. Be kind and be tender toward the fact that they are just afraid right now. And that's why they're behaving this way. Archangel Sandalphon is here. I told you this is not going to last forever. I have heard your call for help. Please call for help. Please pray. You can pray while you meditate. Just get down on your knees and pray, because you will be listened to and you will be helped. Your prayer will soon be answered. So resolution is coming, Taurus. Think global. You are being encouraged to spread your wings. Think outside the square. You are a citizen of the world. Expand your vision. Imagine the world within your heart. Embrace it. Surround it with love. Let it be, and so it'll be. Don't let somebody else's criticisms of you make you forget what you're really doing, and that what you're really doing has a purpose, and that it's right, and that it's good, and it's part of your life journey. But at the same, like that's what it is. Think broad. Keep going is what they're saying. Keep going. I know you hit a rough patch. This is part and parcel to the process. It's not a sign that you should stop and then change. Whoa, life is a journey. It would be very unfulfilling if each step was exactly the same as the last. Because life is always changing. It is forever fresh and new. Allow your life to unfold gracefully. Even those ungraceful bumps in the road. If you just accept them and don't take them personally, like you trip and fall, it's not because the rock wanted to trip you. It's just because the rock was there and you stumbled. Get up, wipe off your knee, and keep going. Be grateful for what was. That's part of this past that's calling you back, right? What is and forever will be. This is your future. So your future focus, and you keep going. Let's get to the nitty gritty. We're going into tarot. I'm sorry about, oh, that's my light. I apologize. I'm sorry about that, Taurus. I will see you guys, link is below, in the extended.